for an interesting panel entitled Middle East Joins Hands in the First Year of 5G Advanced. I invite Mr. Tony Aid to give the opening remarks.
Good afternoon. I hope we're not very tired or sleepy after the lunch. I guess you should bring coffee with you. Good afternoon. I'm glad to introduce this insightful session on 5.5G, which known also as 5G Advanced, where innovation and connectivity converge to shape the future of our digital landscape. In the ever-evolving technology scene, the Middle East has been driving the transition to the 5G advanced connectivity. Within this year, we have witnessed the groundbreaking from telecom giant that have set the stage for the 5G advanced revolution. As the 5G advanced standard freezes for next year, so we believe that we will witness the result of all these attempts by the telecom operator and industry pioneer in the region. So 2024 will mark the start of the first year of 5.5G or the 5G advanced era. Today's panel discussion brings together industry pioneer from telecom operator and main vendors throughout the leader and visionary who has played a vital role in propelling the 5G advance for the region. And they are at the forefront of 5G advanced technology. We will explore this transformative journey, the challenges to overcome, and the limitless possibility that lie ahead by deploying the 5G advance. Now I leave the floor to the expert. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tony. And now we'll invite our panelists on stage. I'll call them out one by one. Dr. Mahmoud Sherif, Head of Innovation and Technical Business Development, DO. Mr. Khaled Suwaidi, Senior Vice President, Core Network and Platforms at etisalat by E&. Mr. Günther Ottendorfer, Chief Technology and Information Officer, Ooredoo Qatar. Mr. Stelios Savides, Chief Technology Officer, Vodafone Oman. Mr. Shafiq Trabulsi, Vice President and Head of Networks, Ericsson Middle East. Mr. Noman Wahid, Chief Technology Officer, Middle East, Nokia. Dr. Bilel Jamoussi, Deputy Director and Chief of Telecommunication Standardization Policy Department, TSB ITU. Mr. Tang Gentian, President of Huawei Middle East and Central Asia Region Marketing and Solutions Sales Department. And our moderator, Mr. Firas Mehdebi, Managing Director, Middle East Private Equity PMP Strategy. Let's give our panelists a big round of applause.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here with more than 200 years of experience telecom operations and network. I think if all of you look at his phone right now and sees the 5G is thanks to these guys. These guys are the enablers. Well, if you didn't see it, you can blame them. And if you don't have a mobile phone, it is not the right conference.
It's 4G.
No, the idea here is to go through the panel and to understand with the views of the panelists about the 5G and notably the 5G advanced. I will start with the ITU, with Dr. Bilel. Bilel, ITU is known as a reference of international standards for that enables 5G interoperability and beyond. What are the recent actions that you have taken in that sphere?
Thank you very much for the question. So certainly several standards are enabling the 5G and the 5G advanced. And some of the recent actions, maybe we'll start from the fiber optic layer, because as we have seen with from A&E's presentation, one of the key elements of 5G advanced is more capacity and more speed. And in order to get that speed on the wireless interfaces, you need the fiber optic infrastructure to enable that. So our study group that develops optical standards has recently approved a number of specs related to the use of passive optical networks as a means to connect metro and front haul towers to the core network, and other metro solutions beyond the passive optical network, the classical optical. So those are some very significant addition of, I call the spectrum, the air and the fiber optics, the lung for any of our wireless communication. So the fiber optic infrastructure certainly is now ready to take on more capacity. And then if we go up the stack a bit, there is the next level is this whole idea of more dynamic slicing and orchestration of the network. And in that, we have a focus group on autonomous networks. And the autonomy really is an important element in the advanced deployments. And hand in hand with the autonomy comes the use of AI and machine learning. And for a number of years, we've been working with many operators here in Dubai, like Do, Etisalat, and others, on a sandbox for using machine learning for 5G. And just this week on the 5th, we had the CXO meeting advising the ITU on the next priorities. And it was highlighted by our colleagues from Do, the importance of the sandbox for MENA. We call it the MENA sandbox for machine learning for 5G and beyond. So fiber optics, autonomous networks, use of AI and machine learning, more of a native element. But from a customer and business perspective, we also, as mentioned earlier by the colleague, the initial use cases with 5G were not there initially. There was just more capacity, but the operators were looking for the use cases. So we created a focus group called the 5G Test Bed Federation. And there are many, many test beds around the world for 5G, and it's about trying new use cases and not having just one operator having to deploy a test bed, but federating them with APIs allows operators to do testing of new ideas, new case scenarios and use cases. That, I would say, the additional piece from ITU in terms of finding those use cases and then deploying them rapidly. Thank you.
Excellent. Dr. Mahmoud, Bilel talking about use cases. Can you give us your views on 5G Advanced, how it will bridge the gap with 5G, and what are the use cases you are considering at Do?
Sure. To start with, 5G is a very dear subject to my heart. I had the privilege to actually in 2019 to be the chairman of the steering committee in charge of the 5G launch for Do. I do remember the date, May 14th. So having said that, I need to start by saying that, to be honest, as an industry, we promised too much, and I agree with Marwan's speech. We did, as an industry, we did promise too much when we came to basically advertise what 5G is capable of at the beginning. If you remember that, famous triangle, speed, latency, ultra low latency, and machine type communication. Actually, as we speak, the main capability that we have today is the speed. The ultra low latency is being hindered by so many things. The machine type communication, we don't have enough devices over 5G to actually do this. And we faced a few things. Number one is the uplink. The uplink is almost identical to the 4G or a little bit more. So this is where I personally see where the 5G Advanced is. The 5G Advanced is here to close some of the gaps that we have in the current 5G. So three things I see in 5G Advanced. Number one is the uplink speed enhancements. This is something extremely important. Now that we've already in the 4th year after the launch, actually 4.5 years, we know that uplink in the current 5G, at least with the C-band, is not sufficient for so many use cases. The use cases we were promising to use, like broadcasting on the go, ultra HD uplink type of use cases are not really doable in the public network. Maybe on a private network doable, but not in the public network. So uplink enhancement is the very first very important capability that's coming with 5G advanced. Number two is I always like to think of 5G advanced as not as, just adding more and more carriers to have carrier aggregation and, more downlink speeds. I think we need to start thinking of this as the so-called deterministic network. We need some guarantees in our network. Those guarantees might be minimum speed, might be, some SLAs regarding latency. And I think the 3GPP is moving in the right direction, is putting some basically SLAs, how we can even expose some network APIs to control and ask for those KPIs to be there. So the number two is what I call the deterministic network. Then the third advantage that's coming is under the section or the category of sensing and precise location. I think this is a new sort of use case that will come with 5G advanced. It has its challenges. I know it has been proven over things like millimeter wave, which is, a different spectrum than the ones readily available. But who knows? Maybe this will also be available over the C-band or the 2.6 gigahertz, so it becomes even more usable. So those are the three things. To repeat, it's the uplink enhancement, absolutely crucial. The deterministic network, which is basically marrying the speed and latency with some SLAs, and the sensing and the very precise positioning. So those are the three things for us.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Khaled Suwaidi, do you share his view, or what are your views on the use cases for 5G advances and how it will bridge that famous gap?
Assalamu alaikum, first of all. Thanks for hosting us in this event. I think I'm a little bit more optimistic on the 5G and 5G advance. If we talk about etisalat, IE, and 5G journey, we started actually in late 2017, early 18 to build the 5G network. We launched the 5G NSA in 2019. Then we started modernizing the network to avail capability of VoNR and slicing capability in 2022. And during first quarter of this year, we launched the 5G SA. And actually, we see this as the first milestone in the era of, getting innovative services for our customer, because we are going to utilize, our network capabilities in different use cases for consumer and business of 5G. I think everybody here agree that going for 5G is the real innovation, of the 5G, including infrastructure, innovation to cloud-native architecture, the introduction of SBA for API allowance to have, the network exposure function, and availing also, the slicing technology, where it will help in practically, implementing the network as a service, the one we are talking about. Adding to that, securing quality of experience to different, use cases of business and consumer. So this is how we started the 5G journey, if we are talking about the commercial network of etisalat. But at the same time, we did not forget the business part of it. In 2021, we started implementing the 5G cores, private core, and we started building the NIC in most of our business verticals as a trial. We wanted really to start monetizing on the 5G. So we wanted to help the business, the verticals on the Industry 4.0. As Marwan, he highlighted also, In 2023, in the event of Formula One, we were the first to have our 5G private core on a wheel. We implemented our first static slicing for a commercial use in the same event, actually. So etisalat by and I think we are committed to leadership and technology. We are committed to open opportunities and to providing, whatever satisfying services to our consumer and business. Saying that, today our network, it is on release 16. In GITEX 2023, we demonstrated the 10 gig uplink. We demonstrated the red cap. So we are evolving to release 17 in 2024. And inshallah, by 2025 end, we are going to release 18, where we are planning to avail all the new services of the 5G Advanced from 10 gig plus, the efficiency of energy and the XR and other things.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Interesting that you use it for the Formula One. Günther, staying in the same subject, how were you ready for the World Cup in terms of 5G? Did you use 5G Advanced? Were you one of the early adopters? How were you ready for that?
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. I'm very passionate about the topic because personally, I was one of the co-authors of GSM Recommendation 422 in the late 80s, and we defined mobile transmission with 10 kilobits per second. It has developed to 10 megabits, and now with LTE Advanced, with 5G Advanced, we will go to 10 gigabits per second. And that's in the lifespan of one career. So this is very exciting. In Qatar, we have, my speakers before me, also one of the pioneers in 5G. We have rolled out our 5G network to 98% of the population in Qatar. That was one of the preparations for the World Cup. But we also prepared the stadiums. And I think this leadership role in the region, we should also recognize. So if you look at the UCLA speed test ranking, the first three operators, the first three countries are UAE, Qatar, and Kuwait. I think that's worth a big applause, huh? So when we thought about the World Cup, we said this will be the first 5G-enabled World Cup. And we made all stadiums ready with really good 5G coverage. We used all the technologies that will now play a role also in 5G Advanced. We used carrier aggregation with multiple bands. We combined more than 300 megahertz together. We used massive input and massive output antennas. We used elastic run. So all kinds of technologies that will play an even bigger role in 5G Advanced. It enabled us to have really dazzling fan experiences. And that is very important. On my LinkedIn, you can see a fan in a full stadium reaching nearly 1 gigabit per second during the game. You see the players on the court, and you see him doing the speed test. That was very energizing for all of us. We want to continue on that. As you said, release 17 will be giving us even more features to use that, and it will be necessary. I see features that we will need for energy efficiency, much more sophisticated energy efficiency. I see features for the uplink, and I agree this is very important, especially for big events. And, but also, we have to acknowledge, in the region, we are globally really good. We have achieved a lot. I encouraged last week a little bit of a competition between my technicians, and today morning I received 5 speed tests of more than 3 gigabits per second, be it in the real network with a real phone, an iPhone, taken, but in the middle of the night, so that you have the maximum that you can get. So I think we have come a long way. Yalla 5G Advanced. We are really looking forward to it, and we are passionate about it.
Thank you for that energy. Stelios, you have worked in the US and Europe and now in Oman. Do you share that enthusiasm about the region?
Yeah, so good afternoon to everybody, and it's a real pleasure to be here with a lot of the colleagues. No, the enthusiasm is there. I think, you're hearing engineers now, and, playing with stuff, trialing new stuff, this is what we all love. The thing is, and I look at my commercial colleague who we've been on many journeys together, I need to also justify that investment, okay? But look, I'm also a newbie in terms of a network. We've been live now for just under 2 years, okay? We have built our network slowly, first balanced with national roaming and us, and we've been growing and growing. Wherever we have our network, we have 5G, and we've really been doing a lot to try and push that traffic. Today, we have 66% pop coverage of 5G. We have 25% of our customers with a 5G handset, so that's good. And so about 20% of our data is on 5G. So we look at those numbers and continue to try and enhance. When I think of 5G advanced, I'm looking at some of the new capabilities, things that will really help drive a better customer experience. So for example, one of the things we've done is introduce the 5G ANR, so that the automatic neighbor relations, and we found that really helped with keeping people on the best band, better experience, much better, almost 98, 99% handover success rates, and so on. So ultimately, it's driving that better customer experience. Also, I am a bit lucky. The fact that I have a brand new network means, on a sustainability point of view, I actually have some of the most efficient equipment. My whole core network is 3 racks. When I think of the old days, you go into the data center and you're looking at a room the size of this, you see the difference of the advancement. So from that perspective, we're much more energy efficient. Our kit is much more energy efficient on the site. So that's really another positive step as well. Again, then I look at the side of automation, okay? Now, we talk about a lot of use cases, but sometimes it's finding, again, the practicality of what really helps. So we have a number of AI models that look at different things in the network that could lead to fault issues. So we use that to do some preemptive maintenance. The other thing, Oman is a large country, so the size is large, distances are big. So yeah, drive testing, we all love it. We go check, see what's going on to optimize. But now we're also using cognitive methods to try and do virtual drive tests, picking up all the data points that we have, and then using that to try and also help drive optimization activities. So, there is a lot of opportunities. The other thing that we did is we did the first 5G standalone POC in the country. We had it live, connected to a couple of locations with a closed user group because it could not be open. But then doing that, we also saw, we know we are ready. So as and when we have those use cases ready, we know how we will make those advancements. So honestly, I'm really loving listening to some of the stories here because we have a really good mix of some operators really very far advanced, but it's all about what we're trying to do is give a great experience to the customer.
Great, great. Happy to see the region enthusiastic. Let's hear about the views of the vendors on how they could help. Mr. Tang, how in Huawei we will be acting as an enabler for supporting that enthusiasm and that leadership of the region?
Thanks very much. First of all, I'd like to thank a lot for Telecom Review for setting up this extremely important session on 5G Advanced. Huawei firstly raised the 5.5G as an evolution to 5G in 2020. Actually, Huawei 5.5G is fully aligned with the 5G-A concept in wireless domain. We are working very closely with 3GPP and industry partners on 5G standardization. 5G networks features 10 gigabps downlink, 1 gigabps uplink, and 100 billion LTE connections and native intelligence. We firmly believe those features will empower the operators to build faster, superior, and more intelligent networks. 5.5G or 5G-A journey in Middle East has been started since the beginning of 2023. a series of verification have been concluded, including the 10 gigabps downlink and red cap and passive IoT. With the ultimate pursuit of innovation and externals of our Middle East customers. We have launched the industry first, actually, the end-to-end the solutions for 5.5G at the Global MBB Forum at Dubai this November. So we do believe, and also that you know that with the upcoming phased 5G standards by 3GPP in 2024, we are confident to collaborate with our operators in Middle East to purpose the commercial deployment of 5G networks. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Now, man, you say in Nokia that 5G Advanced will push 5G to its fullest capabilities. What do you mean by that?
Thank you. Good afternoon and salam alaikum from my side as well. I think in UAE we are experiencing very exciting times here. We have two major world conferences happening in Dubai. First is the WRC 23, which is about availability of more spectrum. So I'm looking towards Dr. Bilel to ensure that he releases more spectrum in the 6 gigahertz and also 600 megahertz. So the operators, as you mentioned, spectrum are the lungs for our industry. So we need to make sure the timely availability of the spectrum. And the next one, of course, COP28, which talks about sustainability. Yesterday, we also saw a lot of panelists and also keynote speakers talking about the importance of ESG and sustainability. So let me just go into now the topic of the day, which is 5G Advanced. So both these topics are very relevant, both the spectrum part and also the sustainability part. So when we look at 5G, when it started back in 2019 from a commercial point of view, we're mainly looking at the technological enhancement from mobile broadband, URLCC, and also massive machine type communication. So that we covered between release 15 and 17. Right now, we're working on release 18, which will be the first release to talk about 5G Advanced. And then we continue the evolution in release 19 and 20. So this will be a nice bridge towards the 6G by release 2021. So at Nokia, we are looking at 5G Advanced as four innovation domains defined by the 4 E's. So I'll walk you through all the 4 E's. So the first one is experience. So here we talk about taking the experience to the next level, both for the humans and machines, right? By the use of extended reality, by having better beamforming, uplink MIMO, as Dr. Mahmoud and other guys were saying as well, we need to improve the uplink speeds as well. We talked about optimization of edge cloud that will impact also cloud gaming, and then also mobility. The second E is for extension. So here we talk about extension of 5G coverage, as well as extension into new market segment for the CSPs, right? So yesterday we heard that at any given point, globally we have 15% of the mobile subscriptions that don't have connectivity. And this is where the non-terrestrial network come into play. So satellite operators, they're helping us to connect the unconnected. So they are basically in partnership with telecom operators to enhance their coverage beyond the terrestrial boundaries. And then we look into the new segments in terms of reduced capability. So the red cap, which talks about different form factors, 70% lower cost that we can use for wearables. Apple is rumored to start using this technology in their watches from next year. Then we look at either security cameras deployment, we look at low-cost mobile broadband connectivity, and so on and so forth. And then we look at expansion. So here in this domain, we are looking at expanding the 5G services beyond the norms of the telecommunications, right? So here we talk about the precise positioning that Dr. Mahmoud were earlier alluding to. So with 5G Advanced, we are looking at below 10 centimeter positioning, right? That can be used for both indoor and outdoor. And then also synchronization as a source. So far, we were relying on GPS. So now with this capability, we have the possibility to offer synchronization for either banking or for point of sales using 5G. So this can be offered as synchronization as a service. And last not the least, we talk about operational excellence, which talks about how we can further optimize the 5G system and improve the operational capabilities. So when we talk about the energy saving aspects, so already we have implemented quite a few features that involve energy saving. In 5G Advanced Release 18, we're talking about taking it to the next level. So we talk about having the connected and unconnected power saving, and then how they are interacting with MIMO meetings to further enhance the capability of energy saving. And then AI and ML, we heard from Group CEO Hatem Dweeder yesterday, how he has been utilizing AI to further improve the energy consumption in the radio network. So in Release 18, those will be becoming part of the standardization to further improve the energy consumption and reduce the carbon footprint. So, and with Nokia, we are already involved with the CSPs within Middle East to STC and DO, to name a few public ones. And of course, we have more in the pipeline. So we're looking forward to our having this collaboration and have a successful journey for 5G Advanced. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Shafiq, in Ericsson, how do you see this? What are the use cases that you foresee as delivering the most impact in 5G Advanced? What are your views on that?
I think from a technology perspective, I just came from COP28 actually right now. And I think the sustainability part is really, really fantastic. It's so important these days. And with 5G Advanced, I think one of the most used features will be the ones related to the advancements we're doing through AI on managing basically the power consumption of the equipment on the network. So there's a lot of features that are going to be allowing us to, other than the existing, let's say, deep sleep features, you will have features that are able to move power between, our exports, reduce let's say, the size of your beams, allow you to do a better handover from one beam to another, allow you to locate better the UEs on the network so that you really can reduce your noise, let's say your RF noise. So there's a lot of that is going to be that is part of this release that will allow us to basically be friendlier to the environment, and from use cases, obviously we see the XR use cases taking, let's say, more space in the technology itself by enhancing the technology to answer basically for those XR use cases with 5G Advanced. We're going to hopefully see more of these, because today we don't see a lot, to be honest. So, with what Release 18 provides us in terms of design framework to do on managing uplink as we discussed, but also on managing slicing in a slightly better way than the current Release 17 does. We're going to be able to do these things better. For media, for example, our guys can be equipped with 5G and be able to upload the data with live feed and things like that. We will see more of that happening with 5G Advanced than we saw with 5G before that. Also, I think managing interference will be better as well on the network. So we will have better networks. We have features that are, interference sensing that are going to be rolled out related to 5G Advanced that are going to allow us to capitalize better on the spectrum that we have, let's say. So. Yeah, so those are the main things I would say, not to repeat what my colleagues said before.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. I feel excited about 5G Advanced. I don't know if you feel excited. I am going to ask you to celebrate together, because 2024 will be the year of the launch of 5G Advanced. So if you gentlemen can stand up and sit where there is a cross in front of you.
Okay.
All right, I think all the beams are present. And the video will be played in the background and on the monitors in front of you. And together, all together. And let's get the lights on. If it does, we'll press it one more time until we get, there you go, and then we release the hands.
Yeah.
Big round of applause, and there we have it. Our initiation. 2024 Middle East first year of 5G Advanced. One more time for all our panelists, a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you very much.